fucking closed. I'm standing out the front right now. I thought I'd go up early and get a Starbucks. And it's closed, mate. Closed. Can you believe this shit? You know? We've got an Ironman to win. Europe is my style of racing though. This is a different beast. It's like tennis, you know. I'm sure when Roger Federer plays in France, it's a different feeling than when he plays in Wimbledon. It's a surface that doesn't suit him. It's the same as me. This is a surface and a race that doesn't suit my physiology, but doesn't mean I can't win here. And so I always watch athletes like Federer and that, and how they deal with their preparation for events like France and stuff, because he knows it's a surface that doesn't suit him, so he has to adapt and change and do things a little differently, because if you go into every race the same, you know, you can't necessarily guarantee the same result if other things are different. So you know, I have other fears for this race as opposed to Europe. I have no fears, because if it's a fast race, it suits me, and European races are fast. I have an idea of what I think will happen, but trying to predict what's going to happen is almost impossible, because, you know, of course it's the pre-race hype and talk all week. This is what's going to happen, and these are the people you've got to look out for. So after being here for 8 years, it's all media hype and talk, and it all pans out when the gun goes. And that fear and those inhibitions, and someone has to step up to win, you know, and a lot of people are scared to do that. It sounds like a stupid word, but they are. You've got to be prepared to take a chance and make a move when it matters. And sometimes that takes courage. Sometimes that takes, you know, making the move at the right moment will win you the race. So you realise that you have to have that ability to read a race. You know, you have your idea of, by identifying the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors, of what they're capable of doing and what you think they would do. And if you were in their shoes, how would you attack the race? I guess that's how you look at it. No, you always look for little signs. Funny, in the days before, you're looking for, not that I'm superstitious by any means, but you're always looking for personal reinforcement. You know, like, okay, that's good. Oh, the muscles feel great. That's a positive. You know, that's a tick. That's a tick. You know, oh, I didn't have to do my bike. That was easy. That's a tick. You know, all these things that are.
Yeah, if you are in the flow, if
it's going in the flow and everything's working well, and you know, and you're always looking for little. Oh wow, that happened. That's a sign. So it's and this time around, I've had all these little things that have been
very positive.
Pretty positive. So it's good. But it's funny. I remember saying if I won, I wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
I'd like to do other things. You always tend to come back, but I've said it a few times. I think I wouldn't mind having a year here in a different capacity, you know, and focusing on some other key events, some other races I've always wanted to do that I always give up because of this race, you know, and I'll enjoy this year, I think.
So for this year, you need to convince some other guys to go hard on the bike.
Well, if this was cycling and I was Johan Brunel and I'm sitting here trying to give Lance every opportunity he has to win that when he's 8th Tour de France, that's exactly what I'd be looking at. I'd be like, okay, this Contador, he's an amazing climber. We need to make him work in the days before the climbs. And that's what I'm trying to say with a lot of the athletes out there that maybe don't
I think they just come into these races like triathletes in the past. We swim 50 kilometres a week, we ride 600, and we don't worry about anything else. But it's not just about the training, it's about looking at the athletes within the race. So I'm trying to tell the people out there who haven't maybe looked at strengths and weaknesses or thought of racing in this way, hey, these are these guys' weaknesses. Let's exploit them. If you know, let's leave gaps and let Craig have to close them. Let's, you know, in the section between Harvey and between Kauai High and Harvey, which is I think where Craig's immensely fit. So his natural speed is going to carry him to Kauai High on the way out. The other people are going to do the heavy lifting, and his fitness is going to get him home from Kauai High. So his vulnerability is between Kauai High, Harvey, and Kauai High. So you want to exploit that. That's when we got to make the moves. That's when you got to leave the gaps. That's when you got to alienate him. That's when you got to make him work. That's when you've got to make, as opposed to slowing down. If you look at last year's when Lieto went, all these guys went, and that's the vulnerable position for Craig Alexander. So, hey, Aniko, Ronnie, Andreas, and your brother. That's when we've got to push the pace, because his fitness is going to carry him home, and
you don't want to get off the bike with him.
You don't want to get off the bike with him. His track record proves that. And he's not just in Ironman, he's proved that in 70.3. He's very, very confident on the run.
We love having rivalries. That's the best thing.
The sport needs it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. You and Norman, that was great.
How come
We
it's
were able to
always
milk
me?
that for years.
How come it's always
Because
me
you're good,
involved?
man. I love it. Because that's good,
I'm
though.
trying
It's
to
good
be
for the
hard.
sport.
Yeah, I had a great day. I was quietly confident this year. I didn't want to. I came in definitely a little bit quieter than in years past, but you know, sometimes you get a little bit apprehensive when training and everything goes so well. And I was at a great weight. I felt fantastic in my preparation, and I was quietly confident. But I don't like to get ahead of myself. And geez, I had the perfect race yesterday. It was a wonderful day, and as opposed to the 07 race, I really got to enjoy the, enjoy the finish and enjoy the moment. It was, it was a great day.
So there was a point there on the bike where you had to make a decision.
Yeah.
You were with a group, and there was a group ahead with Norman and Ferris and some of the good cyclists. And when we met at Auburn University months ago, you looked directly at the camera and said,
I called him out.
and said, okay, the way we can beat Craig Alexander is Ferris, Norman, we have to put pressure on Craig between Kauai High and Kauai High. And we have to get a gap, because you don't want to come off with the bike with that guy. He's the best runner in the sport.
Yeah.
And it seemed like that's exactly what happened.
Well, this year they've always called it the lonely lava fields, but this year there was that many guys in the group. There was no loneliness out there, so we were heading out towards Kauai High, and the passing this year was very difficult. There was a lot of penalties being handed out because the group was so big, and you know, I was at one stage I got towards the back of the group and I didn't see that Norman had come through, and I didn't see the group escape, and I went, man, it's a bit dangerous back here, and I pulled out as we got up towards Harvey, you know, about 6 miles from the bike turn, and I rode up to see who was in the group, and I'd realised Timo Bruck, Norman Stadler, the German train had gone. I thought, oh, far out, how can you be so stupid here? And we sort of pulled up, and I saw them about a minute up the road, and Reynard Tissing was coming past me on the outside. I said, Reynard, hit the gas, we're going. And I went around Reynard, we took off, and I saw the boys didn't respond, and that was the move. I said, we have to get across to this group, and I really laid it out for about 25 miles until I got into the back of the German train, and then as I pulled up onto them, I said, guys, this is it.
So you talked to them?
Yeah.
You said, guys, we got to go.
We have got to go. We have to push. This is the move. This is it. I said, these guys, because I'm looking at this group. It's Farris, Norman, Bruck, and Raylert. You've got Mikey Twelsick and
all the guys.
Lieto up the road. They're the bikers of the whole field. Back in the group of the runners. So you get a bit of confidence knowing that you got the best bikers with you, and the runners are going to do the lion's share of the work back there. So yeah, the boys picked it up, and we were able to open up 8 minutes on the chase group, and
that made a huge difference.
Yeah, that was it. And I actually going up towards Scenic Lookout there, which is about 20 miles from home, I'd say, just about 15, 20 miles from home. I was looking at Raylert as the guy to beat. He looked very, very comfortable in that pack, but he sort of dropped off a few times on Norman, who was pushing the pace. And I sensed a weakness there, and I said to Reynard again, let's go, let's hit the Germans. And so we escaped. And that was ultimately the minute gap that I was able to run out of transition with, that he had to fight back on the run. And
we've had classic moments here, but a lot of times they're seldom and far between when you actually have people running side by side. And to have you and Andreas Raylert running actually onto Polani, coming down Polani, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
And when Andreas was coming on you, and I've seen you race before, I've seen you, what you did with the Nico Llanos at Wildflower, you are the best tactician I've ever seen in a race. You knew he was coming, and it seemed like you kept the pressure on because you wanted to make sure when he got to you, he was gassed a little bit.
Well, I knew he was coming from a long way out. Actually, I was holding him at a minute 20, and for a while he was taking about 10 seconds a mile out of me. So you start doing the math in your head and you prepare yourself, okay, there's going to be a catch, he's going to catch me, we'll hold this pace. So out towards the energy lab, I thought, you know what, let's just accept he's going to catch me, but let's focus on nutrition and focus on the things I can control.
Right.
Take a bit of a break, and then when he does catch me, be prepared for a tactical race to the finish, because I like a downhill run. I sort of half back myself in a sprint, and I found out many years ago when I did Ironman that not necessarily the fastest guy wins in an Ironman at the end of an Ironman, the strongest guy can win. So I thought, I've done a lot of these, I'm relatively strong, and I cruised through the energy lab. I really focused on nutrition, and I was surprised he hadn't caught me earlier. So I started to think, well, maybe he's not doing it as easy as I'm hearing, because
right.
it's quite difficult when you're leading. You don't know what's happening behind. And so I just kept the pace on, ran 6:30 miles just under, and thought, okay, to take 15 seconds a mile out of me, he should catch me with about 4 miles to go.
Right. And
then we're going to have a running race. And he caught me with 3 miles to go. And thankfully for me, I was starting to come on the upward.
You started to come back a little bit.
I started to come back and feel good, and when he caught up, and I thought, this is game on. I'm ready to rock and roll here, and yeah, it sort of went that way.
It's sort of, in that situation, it's almost better to have the guy right there.
It really is, because you get to look him over and
feel
see
what the deal is, how he's feeling.
And I like to see that, and I thought, you're always looking for positives. I'm a sort of a glass half full kind of guy,
Yeah.
and once he pulled up, I got to look at him and think, okay, you're looking good, you feel good. He's not looking as if he was feeling great, he would have brushed straight by me. He's actually paused here, which is a sign, and so I just sort of tried to put myself one step in front of him all the time to assert, hey, you've caught me, but you haven't gone past me, and
right.
I'm still here, buddy. And as we made the move up Mark and Dave Hill, I was starting to think, man, this is hallowed turf. This is where the great
Iron
race.
War.
Yeah, this is
Exactly.
Iron War.
And you're a historian.
Yeah, I'd watched that race many times and watched Mark make his move on Dave there, and I actually got a bit ahead of myself and put in a bit of a surge. But you're still a long way from home.
You're a mile and a half, 2 miles.
Yeah, don't panic here. I got a bit of a break on him, and looked back, and I had maybe 15 metres, and I thought, well, it took him a good mile to run that 15 metres out of me earlier. If I keep this pace on, he's going to have to run some tempo up the hill, and maybe that'll sting his legs. And we both crested Polani together as we ducked down the hill. He didn't go past me again, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna wait until we get onto a leaky drive and make a move. And we sort of got down near the Starbucks on Polani, which is exactly a mile to run, and
right.
I heard him. He was on my inside. I heard him yell for Coke and water at the aid station, and I couldn't believe it. I thought,
aid station with a mile to go.
A mile to go, you don't need aid.
No.
Not when you're running
It's
for
not
the
going to help
title.
you.
Yeah. And I waited, and once he ran into the people who were holding the cups, you're always slowing down, your hands are up,
right.
You're not driving your arms anymore, and the minute he went for the cup, I hit the gas, and it opened up the winning gap ultimately in the end. And you get to the bottom of Polani, swung onto the left into that false flat, and I started to hurt. I started to get a stitch. And
I saw you rubbing underneath, trying to get that thing out.
I remember saying to myself there, this is everything you've ever done in your life. Every track session since you're a kid, every time you've hurt in a swimming pool, everything comes down to this moment. Just close your eyes and sprint. And yeah, I did. And in the end, it was a big gap. I was able to win quite convincingly. But it's just a beautiful moment for me. I'm just really happy with how I played it tactically, I think it was just my experience as a racer, and it all culminated in the day yesterday. My whole career came together in that moment, and really, really happy with the way the race unfolded, really, really happy with the way the race has turned out. The Raylerts of the new generation, and to get one up, it's a bit like Mark grabbing Hellriegel back there in 95.
Exactly.
Very, very nice. It's amazing how things pan out in the end. When you look back in hindsight, you're like, wow, that move, it's making the move at the right time that wins races. And fortunately for me,
and not questioning, just going.
To win here, I've said it many times, to win here, you've got to take your chance and be brave enough to do it and cross your fingers. And fortunately for me, that worked.